You leave a conversation, and nothing obvious was wrong. No argument. No conflict. Nothing you can clearly point to. And yet, you feel heavier than you did before. Quieter. More tired than expected. Slightly off. And because nothing obvious happened, you question the feeling. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I am just tired. Maybe I am being too sensitive. So you move on. But then it happens again. The same person. The same kind of interaction. The same feeling afterwards. And slowly, you begin to notice it. Something about this interaction is draining you. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Subtly. That is what makes it difficult to name. Because not all draining interactions look negative from the outside. Some look normal, polite, ordinary, even friendly. But inside, something in you is working harder than usual. Let me explain. Not all interactions affect you in the same way. Some people leave you feeling lighter, clearer, more relaxed, more like yourself. And others do the opposite. Not always because they are intentionally harmful, but because of what happens inside the interaction. You may feel the need to adjust yourself, to be more careful with what you say, to think before you speak in a way that feels unnatural, to manage how you come across, to avoid saying the wrong thing, to make yourself smaller, quieter, more agreeable, less honest than you would normally be. And while you are doing all of that, you are not fully relaxed. You are monitoring yourself. That is important. Because self-monitoring takes energy. Holding back thoughts takes energy. Adjusting your behavior takes energy. Reading the room constantly takes energy. Trying to avoid tension before it happens takes energy. And when that effort is continuous, it becomes draining. Not physically, mentally, emotionally. This is the part most people miss. You do not always feel drained because of what someone says. You feel drained because of how you have to be when you are around them. That is a very different thing. Because it means the drain is not always coming from one obvious moment. It may be coming from the adjustment, the filtering, the carefulness, the quiet pressure to not be fully yourself. Let me bring this into something more real. You may be around someone and notice that your body feels slightly tense. You speak differently. You laugh less naturally. You explain yourself more than usual. You feel like you have to justify simple things. You leave the conversation replaying what happened, wondering if you said too much or not enough, or whether something you said will be misunderstood. And that replaying afterwards is also part of the drain. Because the interaction does not end when the conversation ends. It follows you into your thoughts, into your mood, into the rest of your day. That is why the tiredness can feel confusing. Because nothing obvious happened. But something in you had to work very hard. Now let's take this deeper. There are environments where you can be fully yourself, where you do not need to filter everything, where you can speak without constantly calculating, where your energy feels stable. And then there are environments where something feels slightly tense. Not enough to be obvious, but enough to change how you show up. And over time, your system begins to recognize it. That quiet tension, that subtle pressure, that sense of needing to adjust. That is what creates the drain. So instead of asking, why do I feel tired around them? Ask something more precise. How do I have to be when I am around this person? Do not rush that question. Because the answer may be more revealing than you expect. Do you feel relaxed? Or careful? Open? Or guarded? Able to be yourself? Or slightly different? Do you leave feeling lighter? Or do you leave needing to recover? That question matters. Because your energy is often telling the truth before your mind has found the words. Now, this does not mean you need to blame people. It does not mean every draining person is bad. And it does not mean every uncomfortable interaction is harmful. But it does mean your energy deserves to be listened to. Because if a pattern keeps repeating, it is worth noticing. Not with panic. Not with judgment. With awareness. And once you begin to see that clearly, something shifts. You stop blaming your energy. You stop assuming something is wrong with you. you begin to understand what is actually happening. Not all environments support your energy. Not all interactions allow you to remain yourself. And once you recognize that, you begin to move differently. Not with blame, with awareness. You protect your energy. You notice what affects you. You give yourself permission to step back where needed, to recover after certain interactions, to spend more time in spaces where you do not have to perform. And slowly, you create more room for the version of you that feels natural. So if you have been feeling drained around certain people, pause. Your energy is not the problem. It may simply be responding to something that is not fully aligned with you. And once you see that clearly, you begin to understand what your energy has been trying to tell you. Sometimes the drain is not in what happened. It is in who you had to become just to get through it.